This video examines climate change risk assessment, a process critical for the planning and long-term viability of projects across various sectors. As global environmental conditions shift, integrating climate risk considerations into project development has become a foundational element for sustainable outcomes. Defining climate risk assessment. Climate risk assessment is a systematic methodology for identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing potential risks associated with climate change. This process encompasses both acute hazards, such as extreme weather events, e.g., floods, heat waves, and chronic stresses, including gradual environmental changes, e.g., sea level rise, altered precipitation patterns. Beyond merely identifying threats, the assessment analyzes their potential impacts on project feasibility, stakeholder interests, and overall operational longevity. Integration with environmental and social impact assessments, ESIA. Traditional environmental and social impact assessments, ESIAs, have historically served as crucial evaluative tools. However, climate change introduces a dynamic layer of uncertainty not always addressed by conventional ESIA frameworks. Incorporating climate risk assessment into ESIA allows for a more comprehensive evaluation of a project's exposure to climate hazards, its sensitivity to projected changes, and its inherent adaptive capacity. This integrated approach also facilitates the consideration of future climate scenarios and the project's potential influence on broader climate risks. Categories of climate change risk assessment. Climate change risk assessments can be categorized into several distinct types, each addressing specific aspects of climate-related impacts. Physical climate risk assessment focuses on tangible impacts, such as the effects of temperature extremes or altered precipitation on infrastructure and natural systems. Climate change risk and vulnerability assessment evaluates the susceptibility of specific communities or systems to climate impacts, considering socio-economic factors and resource availability. Climate risk scenario analysis utilizes various climate projections to explore potential future conditions and their implications for project resilience. Climate and disaster risk assessment integrates principles of natural disaster risk reduction with climate science to provide a holistic view of intersecting risks. Key components of a climate risk assessment. A structured climate risk assessment typically involves the following key components: project overview, delineation of the project's scope and contextual information, baseline climate context, analysis of historical and current climatic conditions pertinent to the project site, hazard identification, identification of specific climate hazards relevant to the project's geographic and operational context, exposure assessment, determination of project assets, infrastructure, or populations susceptible to identified hazards, sensitivity and adaptive capacity, evaluation of how the project and its surrounding environment may be affected by climate changes, alongside their inherent ability to cope, risk analysis and prioritization, quantification and qualitative assessment of identified risks, followed by their prioritization based on likelihood and potential impact. Scenario planning, development and analysis of various future climate scenarios to inform long-term strategic decisions. Mitigation and adaptation measures, formulation of strategies designed to reduce climate-related risks and foster adaptation to unavoidable changes. Monitoring and evaluation, ongoing surveillance of risks and assessment of the effectiveness of implemented measures. Documentation and reporting, comprehensive recording of the assessment process and findings for transparency and future reference. Illustrative examples consider two practical applications. For a health center in a semi-arid region, a climate risk assessment would address issues such as water scarcity, extreme heat events, and their implications for water supply, cooling systems, and public health outcomes. In the context of a coastal highway upgrade, the assessment would prioritize risks like sea level rise, storm surges, and coastal erosion, ensuring the infrastructure's design accounts for future environmental conditions. Resources and data sources. reliable data and analytical tools are integral to effective climate risk assessment. Key resources include IPCC climate projections, World Bank climate risk tools, NASA Earth data, UNEP tools. These platforms provide essential information for conducting robust assessments. Best practices and regulatory context. Effective climate risk assessment adheres to several best practices. Initiating the process early in the project lifecycle, engaging relevant stakeholders, maintaining clear documentation, and conducting regular reviews. Furthermore, adherence to evolving regulatory drivers and policies mandating climate risk considerations is increasingly vital across diverse sectors. In conclusion, proactive climate change risk assessment is fundamental to developing resilient and sustainable projects. By systematically identifying and addressing climate-related risks, organizations can ensure that their developments are robust, adaptable, and aligned with long-term environmental sustainability objectives. Thank you for watching this overview of climate change risk assessment. Understanding these principles is key to building a more resilient future. If you found this information valuable, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more insights, and share it with anyone who might benefit. For more resources, visit assessmentstools.com.